danger, closer than your heart. When the weight is getting heavy and the future is unsteady, close your eyes, close your eyes. Think about all the dreams you keep inside. Think about all the ones you love. I know this beating heart will be my guide. I know that we can overcome. When the world's so cold and we're losing hope, I need her, I need her. When the darkness comes and we're
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revival League Season 2 playoffs. My name is Retro, and we have the lower bracket quarterfinals, the second and final game of the lower bracket quarterfinals. It is REH Gaming, or Red Gaming, as I have been instructed to say from now on, versus Lumina Gaming. It is another matchup between the lower bracket, or not the lower bracket, my bad, between the Premier League team and the Champions League team, of course, who have come up through the qualifiers into the Premier League and then climbed their way to the top of the Premier League to seed into the playoffs alongside 5 stars. Meanwhile, Lumina, after a rocky start in the Champions League and after a pretty good run in the previous season, they had a pretty rocky start in the at the start of Season 2, managed to finally fight their way up into those top 4 slots. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that they ended up actually third in that entire seeding from the Champions League. So they definitely recovered from their initial bit of trouble, and I'm definitely excited to see how this one goes. I think this might be our most competitive game so far, just because of how strong both of these teams are in their own right. And considering the map pool that we have ahead of us, of course, it is Clubhouse followed by Oregon. And then if we get to it, it will be Cafe. So both of these maps have been in their own right a strong suit for one or both of these teams. I know that Lumina are very strong on Clubhouse, and we've seen that from them before. Multiple 7-1s and 7-0s on this map against other teams, including some of the Champions League teams. So it truly wouldn't surprise me to see Lumina take an initial lead here. But then Oregon might not be that easy, as of course we've seen from Red before. They are so very strong on Oregon that I really don't know what to expect from them. Cafe, I don't think I've ever seen Red play Cafe, and the last time that I remember seeing Lumina on Cafe was last season, where they were dealing with so many, what are they called? Roster changes, where it kind of looked a little bit rocky, and it was very difficult for them to actually even advance anywhere throughout those playoffs last season. So that is the lesson that I remember. I think that they probably have played on Cafe before. Actually, now that it's coming to me, I think the last time they played Cafe, or the last time that I remember casting them on Cafe, was all the way at the start of Season 2 Champions League against Arctic Volps, where I think it was Clubhouse and Cafe, where both maps went to 15 rounds. So I guess we'll have to see whether or not we're going to have a repeat of that. But of course, before we get anywhere near Cafe, we still have to go through these 2 maps. And now with the round just about to go underway and the maps out of the way already, maps, I meant bans already out of the way with Dokkaebi, Solus, Buck, and Paid. I think a few of those bans are pretty standard, especially for Clubhouse. Buck, although a very good ban, is pretty unexpected. In an early engagement already, Tortilla just narrowly losing his life and cannot avoid it any longer. Zemper, the newcomer on Lumina, already starting off very well. He has had a very good debut. It was actually here on Clubhouse where we saw his debut just a little while ago. It was a few weeks ago, and he had a banger of a start here on Lumina, and he is continuing that very strong opening, finding that opening kill here on this map as well, gaining that man advantage early for his team, and with D-Force taking even more damage on the opposite side of the map, but rather here inside of construction. Schnitter will find the kill onto Maggie, take down one of those hard breachers, and regain, or not really regain, but equalize that man count. But a beautiful grenade from Ultra finds D-Force, and Schnitter immediately answers to find another one at the Tortilla, or onto Zemper, and now
located a bomb.
That's Ultra gone as well. Saurus and Zet in a 2 versus 3. The team got off to a really good start, but since then they've really not been able to regain any composure, or Red might just be that good at finding those refrags. Schnitter first taking Saurus down to very low HP and then taking him out for good. Zet looking a little bit too high for the crouch beat from Schnitter and loses his life first round after a kind of a tug of war, and after it didn't really maybe seem like it was going to go that way, does end up going into Res pocket. Now they are able to go down into Church and Arsenal, of course, one of the strongest sites in the game, and most certainly on this map as well. Lumina, after a really, really good opening there, I said the Zemper has really been settling into the shoes here with Lumina. Of course, if you remember him from before, you might remember him from Oblivion XC, a very, very strong competitor inside of the Clawfires. Unfortunately, they had since disbanded, and Zemper was looking for teams for a while, trialing with these and those, and finally landed with the gig with Lumina. And boy, has that paid off for everybody involved. Lumina got a very, very strong player on that entry frag role, and Zemper found himself a team that has already been well settled into the Champions League and that was ready to compete for these top spots in the playoffs to maybe even advance all the way into the grand finals, go for the big prize. So, as I said, it has most certainly paid off for them, but maybe not exactly in that previous round. Didn't really go the way that Lumina wanted it to. I think once they lost Maggie on that hard breacher, it was really, really difficult for him to really get anywhere from there, and the more they kept tumbling down, it really wasn't ever going to go their way with really not much achieved. They were disbanded there as well, and there we go. Ultra tried to go, or Tortilla tried to go for another very aggressive spawn peek, similar to what we saw from him before on the previous round, and once again ends up being the opening death. And on that one might, although it didn't really end up mattering all that much in the previous round, it really might start to come or to become a bit of a problem on this map, as there's, for example, those air jabs aren't going to be able to be caught by any of his magnets, and the frag grenades coming out from either Ultra or Zemper, and we know how hard-hitting they can be, especially with Ultra, who has been very, very successful with them, especially in the vertical variety. It really could come to hurt Ret in the process, but not so much. Zet and Zemper are going to be able to find those 2 kills as well, pushing down those main stairs and finding those frags. Gabs and Shita now in a 2 versus 5, trying to hold on to this round still, but a lot of pressure is being put onto them. Gabs sees just the feet there of Zemper, is unable to pick up the frag, using a smoke bait to deter him for just a little bit longer, and rotating away while he still can. Schnitta, in the meantime, holding down the fort inside of Church, trying to maybe find a cheeky one through the hatch, and they will be fighting a little bit of damage there with the Solrus, not quite enough to take him down. Candelas are raining from the sky, and there goes the drop as well. Ultra is now inside of the bomb site. Gaps is aware and takes his head off. Plant going down, being attempted. It will stick. Gaps being flashed out of position. Can't really do much when there's so many eyes on him, and now it's all down to Schnitte. There's nothing he can do. Multiple angles to cover. Multiple players to try and play against. Not much that he could do. The round will go to Lumina. They equalize the scoreline and prove that that first round might have just been a fluke for Ret, and that they're not really going to be able to find anything ever after that. Although, still very early, and of course there's still an entire second half to play out, regardless of how this one goes. So it really could go any which way, and as I said, I think this might be one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive series that we're going to be seeing, at least until the grand finals. I think the only other matchup that could rival it will probably be in a few days' time, the upper bracket finals, which is Arctic Wolves versus 5 Stars. I think that might also go 3 maps, and that might also be quite competitive, but I think until then, maybe even including that one, this will probably be the most competitive matchup, just considering how evenly matched these teams are, where I really don't see a, complete collapse and complete, control coming up from either of these teams. If this was more than a few weeks ago, if this was, all the way at the start of the season where Lumina were still struggling and didn't have the support of Zemper, I would think, okay, maybe there's definitely a chance there for REH to take this by a landslide, similar to how they did against Blue Jays North Star just the other day. But since the addition of Zemper, I think he's definitely been a very, very good addition to Lumina, and I think that they're going to be very, very strong just off the back of that. But I also think that it gave them a lot of stability, and most of these players being able to put themselves into the role that they are most comfortable with and take full advantage of that. But without further ado, the round has well and truly begun. Grenades already flying into Gaps' face. There's nothing he can do about those except for run away, or try to anyway. But there's nothing truly that he can do there against Ultra, who is just so aggressive on this entry fragger roll, and will find that kill. But Bunny is there with an answer onto Zemper by a C4 from below. The pulse paying off with that C4. Ultra, however, denying or nullifying that kill by finding one of his own. Bunny immediately with an answer onto that one as well, completely taking control of this round and not letting Lumina get away with it. It reminds me of round one, where in similar fashion, where Lumina got that opening frag and got a couple frags as well, we're just not able to really hold on to the round due to the free frags coming up from REH. But now, with Bunny eliminated, they gain control of that dirt tunnel yet again. Zet now pushing down. Tortilla trying to watch for that, but there's so many angles to give him away from up top and from below as well. D-Force in the meantime still inside of church, trying to hold on to that part of the bomb site. Candela's raining down. Here comes the drop yet again. The plant being attempted, and it will stick once more. Tortilla stuck inside of blue, finds the kill onto Maggie. There's a lot of information. Spam pings going out every which way from both sides. Zet is just a little too quick on the gunfire, finds Tortilla. It's all down to D-Force. 1 versus 2. Post-plant situation. He has to get to that diffuser in short time so that he has enough time to get it disabled. He finds the kill onto Zet, and now it's all down to Solars to try and still hold onto that diffuser. No, Candela's left in pocket. Whiffing a little bit. They both are. D-Force has a lot of information, knows exactly where he is. Sees just the back of him, and there goes! The ACS-12 is just too strong, finds the kill in just enough amount of time for D-Force to get that diffuser disabled. 2 seconds were still left, and he found that round. Woo! What a round that was. But REH, or REH, retake the lead after not too glorious of a round number 2. Take us into round number 4 and are going back upstairs to gym and bedroom. And now, because of the fact that they lost one of the rounds downstairs in the basement, that really makes me wonder what we'll see from them coming forward. Whether, if they're able to win this one again, they're not going to be able to go back down into the basement, considering the fact that they had just won it the round previous, and of course, sites only unlock after 3 rounds. So I really wonder what more we're going to be able to see from them, what other site they're going to go for. Will it be Barn Stage, or as it colloquially is known as Bar, just because of the fact that the other bomb isn't actually situated on the stage, but sort of nearby it. So a lot of people like to call it Bar, sort of just a joke, or maybe an incentive for UV to move the bomb to the actual stage so that the name matches. Or will we see a CCTV cash room defense? I think both are on the table, but I would probably lean more toward Barn Stage, just because of how much more versatile of a site it is, and especially with REH unfortunately having to play with a sub of D-Force, they might... Oh, good lord. Yeah, you're right. I wasn't even looking on the right side of the screen because the prep phase hadn't ended yet, but if you look on the right side of your screen, you will see what I like to call a classic Lumina rush, which the way that it is executed is Maggie sets himself up behind this window or below the window on main stairs, and at the same time, a lion scan and the exothermic charge on the jacuzzi breach go off. There, I guess, will be also a Finka boost, which isn't usually a part of their lineup, but I guess they're just ready for it this time. At the same time, all of these things happen. Maggie will rush in through the window and will be inside of the bomb site with that Supernova shotgun, although it doesn't really seem to be working as they lost one of those exothermic charges to bunnies. Bandit tricking, and they are completely rotating around and completely redoing their setup because they cannot really waste another exothermic charge, and Ultra will be the first one to go down, having to adapt or readapt onto their plan. Doesn't really work out in a rush that I call a classic Lumina rush. Was not so classic this time, and it was all stopped by one bandit. Solrus a little bit annoyed there because he was whiffing, I would assume. Wasn't able to get those shots and wasn't able to pick up that refrag. Time, precious time now being wasted for Lumina, and so are the people. Zemper will be the next one to go down. Tortilla still on the fort down on the red stairs, finally getting taken down by Zet. Regaining some control. Schnitter taking a lot of damage as well. Maggie at the bottom of the main stairs trying to make something happen from inside of there. Outside on the windows, I think that would be Solrus at this point. Maggie will find a kill onto Bunny, that SMG-11. Too hard hitting. D-Force immediately with an answer, however, onto Maggie through the windows. Or maybe through the hatch, probably. Finds another one to Solrus as well. Through the window this time, confirmed. And there's nothing that Zek can do in that 1vx. He finds himself dead on the ground. The Schnitter's EMP-45, the round, will once again go to Red, and I might say that that is probably the first time that I've seen Lumina get shut down on that strat. That is a strat that they love to bring, especially when they are on match point, or it is, you know, down to overtime. You know, this is something that they need to get into overtime, and that is something that will pull out, and most of the time, it really will work. I don't think I've ever watched Lumina not be successful with it. At least not be successful with that initial execute. They might fail it later with, you know, getting those kills once they actually get into the bomb site. You know, Maggie might miss a little with that shotgun. The rest of them might get shut down on that breach. But the execute itself usually will work. They will be able to open up that wall at the exact same time as Alliance scan will go out. And, you know, the sound will cover up the Amaru going in through the window. There will be a drop coming in from the Logi hatch. All of that will work, and then it's just down to whether or not they can win the gunfights. But for them to be completely stopped in their tracks by one bandit, really, I don't think that I've ever seen that. If I have, and I'm just not remembering it, well, I guess we can just ignore it. But I really, truly don't think that that happens all that often for Lumina, for that strat to not work. And I think that if anything was going to shake them up mentally, I think that that probably would be the one thing, because they went into it knowing or expecting it to work, expecting it to be a free round, expecting it to be an equalizer on the score line and securing themselves at least a 4-2 split, but it doesn't really matter all that much right now, as they are going to have to attack a completely different bomb site, and it's going to be ever so more difficult now that they lost their star player of Zemper, and they lost Ultra as well, alongside, or along with him, the utility that the Glass was bringing, the two smokes, as well as, of course, the Glass sniper, thermal sniper, whatever it's called, with it as well. 3v5, and so early on still here for Lumina. It's really not looking too good for them, and, well, at least I predicted the fact that REH are going to be going down into bar and stage. Although I did not expect Lumina to get this shut down right away to a couple of spawn peaks. Zet taking down Bunny. Finding that answer, but how much is it really going to be worth is a question still to be answered. Gap's taking a lot of damage. Through the wall, maybe. Snita and Tortilla up until a second ago had a cross setup for that push from the kitchen, but now Tortilla is rotated upstairs and is looking to find some success on the vertical. He will find exactly that onto Zet. Maggie and Solrus once again, 2 versus 4 for them to try and shake something up, to try and make something happen. Tortilla still upstairs and not moved and doesn't really have to move. Solrus trying to push in from the strip club. Maggie, in the meantime, rotating away from Kitchen, maybe trying to join his teammate. Trying to figure out if that's going to be a good idea, but Schnitt is there and waiting. Finds the kill into Solrus. It's all down to Maggie now. Diffuser in hand, a little bit of utility still remaining with the Maverick, but it's really not going to be all that important now that he's in a 1 versus 4, and there's still so much work for him to do. A few of those players are a little bit damaged for their HP, but how much is that really going to mean when there's 2 players that are at full HP? There's a few of those impact grenades still to fly, and of course there's still the Echo to combat against. There goes one Yokai stun, and Maggie now completely alone. Can't do anything but against that vertical angle from the hatch. Tortilla finds that pixel and shoots his toes right off, or I guess in that case, his knees right off. Red take now a significant lead of 4-1, and Lumina might have just thrown away the one chance that they had at finding a round that was truly and unmistakably theirs, and that was the rush upstairs that they got shut down on due to the bandit trick that worked. And well, something that I said all the way at the start of this map is the fact that if I had to guess how this would go, it would probably be that Lumina would have the edge on Clubhouse, and Red would continue to have the edge on Oregon. And then Cafe would be sort of a no man's land, considering the fact that it has been a while since the last time I saw Lumina play it. And that was a completely different team at that point, or a completely different roster. And I don't think I've ever seen Rhett play on Cafe, so there's really no way of knowing what that one will turn out like. But so far, it doesn't really seem like that premonition is going to come true, as Lumina have really not had the edge. I want to think that that is because of the fact that they've been playing on attack, and maybe they're a little bit more comfortable on defense. But if you've ever seen Lumina play before, you'll know that they do not shy away from an attack on Clubhouse. It is not something that is difficult for them. I wouldn't say that that's something that they're better at than defending, but it's also not something that is this much of a downfall for them, especially dying to things like spawn peaks. I really would expect them to be a little bit more wise than that. But now, attacking back onto that basement yet again. They won this once before, lost it the second time around. Can they take advantage of it now? They have the Azami to play up against. They had her before, but not really in as tedious of a position. They find the opening kill onto Bunny, but D-Force is immediately there with an answer, tearing down more of those Kibas inside of dirt and just not allowing them any sort of entrance. Line magnets, cutting them off or cutting their utilities short. There goes the Candela that will push D-Force out of that position, and Solra Zemper immediately taking space inside of that tunnel. The door barricaded, and now Solra and Zemper both deciding to rotate away from that. Zet, who's safe on top of the counter, is able to breach this hatch, or is able to attempt to breach the hatch. In the meantime, they find another kill there onto Gaps, extend that man advantage, and this is looking a little bit more like Lumina, but there's still so much work for them to do. Now with that hatch open, the workload is being cut down by just a little bit. Zemper, in the meantime, taking point on main stairs, trying to put a little bit of pressure from there. D-Force took so much damage from the hatch, unmistakably. Still somehow alive, and still dealing damage to Zemper, who will go down to Schnitt. A little bit of teamwork to make the dream work for Red. In the meantime, Maggie trying to put a little bit of pressure from inside of the dirt tunnel. His drone getting shot out, and a Kiva barrier getting placed in a really good position there for D-Force to hold behind and to just wait him out. It's a game of patience at this point for that position. There go the Candelas, there go the flashes. The execute is inbound. Plant being attempted. Solar's holding down the fort. Finds the kill onto Tortilla.
Attackers activating diffuser.
D-Force trying to retake into the armory. There's nothing he can do with such low HP, and Schnitte being blown through the wall once and then twice by an air jab, having to rotate back down those main stairs, but Solrus is awaiting, and he finds that kill. Finds the round. Lumina save themselves the hard work and the embarrassment of having a 4 or 5-1 split. Find at least another round on that half and put themselves into a better position now, having only 2 rounds to make up on their defensive half, although they definitely would have wanted a little bit more than that. They definitely would have wanted a little bit more to chew from that, but at the same time, if you're attacking on Clubhouse, 2 rounds is all that you can ask for, and on Basement as well, which most people don't really go into expecting to win it when they're on attack, but Lumina were able to do it not once but twice, and even when the odds were stacked against them, they were able to pull it off and find that round, or found those rounds, and now REH are going to have to show what they're made of on their own attacks. Lumina following in the footsteps of REH, going upstairs to gym and bedroom first and foremost. If this is about a year ago, you'd think that they are crazy. You'd be like, what in the god are you doing? This isn't the bomb site that you go to first. You go to cache and CCTV. That is the one that you want to play. That is the strong site. Well, times change. Trends change. Metas change. And so does this game. A lot of sites, especially once they become the favorite site and the site that everybody goes to and the site that is pretty much impenetrable for most teams, they have so many different strategies on them that work, and with time, every single one of those strategies gets completely dismantled, and teams just find workarounds. Teams find ways to attack that bomb site where nothing that you can do on it anymore works. Everything's predictable, and everybody just knows a way to counter you. So they go to different bomb sites, something that you really wouldn't expect, something that you might not even know how to begin attacking, like, for example, Barn Stage. Barn Stage, despite it being sort of an odd bomb of a site and people being like, what are you doing? I don't want to play this bomb site, can be oftentimes the most successful site for you, just because a lot of teams still don't really know how to attack it. They have an idea, they know what the objective is, they know what they have to do, but to execute that might be a little bit hard. Gap's taking a little bit of early damage. Footsteps being spotted there for Ultra, and Zemper will be the first one to take down an opponent. It will be Gaps down 6 feet under. After taking an initial bit of damage, did taking a lot of damage as well. Managed to escape death there just narrowly. Ultra still dealing with 20 HP of his own, still holding point inside of Cash Room. Tortilla having to waste a lot of time trying to break open this castle barricade with his bare hands, rather than attempt to use some of these utility that he has. For example, those breaching charges. You might think, why isn't he placing those down? Well, if he stands in front of that door for long enough, his feet can get shot, so he definitely doesn't want to do that. And well, that was a perfect recipe for a bit of a team kill, but it's not going to happen. Tortilla instead will find Ultra. Zemper now on the lurk could just be finding what remains of REH, especially considering the fact that they don't really have any dedicated flank watching. They have some drones, but Gaps at the moment not on them. Back on them, sort of switching on and off, but Tortilla is watching that, at least for the time being. Solrus taking a lot of damage and finally getting downed inside of construction. They know exactly what's happening, but Maggie is there with an answer onto Bunny. It's effectively a 3v3, make that a 3v2, as Schnitter will find Maggie through the wall. Solrus irretrievable, but also at the moment unkillable. He will be killable now as they finally jump in and find that kill. C4 a little too late there from Zep, but Zemper finds the force anyway. 2v2, 20 seconds to go. Zemper playing around the mattress, taking a lot of damage, but still alive. Zep coming in for the support. They finally isolated him and found the kill there onto Zemper. 10 seconds to go. Zed has to deny this. But they don't have the diffuser. All he had to do was look away, and Shinta will find him anyway. The round will go to REH after it looked so good for them, but there was just nowhere for him to go. He had to move, but he couldn't. He had to stay, but he couldn't. There was nothing that he could have done in that particular situation, and now REH stand tall with 5 rounds to 2. Lumina had the perfect opportunity there to cut that gap by another round and to make it so that they're trailing by only one. They could have definitely equalized yet again and maybe even retaken that lead, but there's just really not much that they could have done there after so many of their players died in positions that were so crucial and that they really couldn't have given away to the attackers as quickly as they did. I think losing Ultra inside of Hash Room so early with still about 90 seconds to go in the round was definitely the thing that hurt them the most, and then losing Solrus in such a crucial position, him not being able to rotate around. There was really so many little missteps coming out from Lumina that denied them getting that round win. And of course, credit is due for REH to isolate some of those positions and some of those players and pushing in together, getting those refrags right away, and not letting Lumina run away with it. Putting themselves now just a step away from that point, setting themselves up for really, really good success. And the team that I really didn't think were going to be that favorite here on the Clubhouse really could be looking to not only throw down Lumina from the playoffs, but also could be looking to steal some of those Champions League spots coming out next season, alongside SPR and 5 Stars, who are the other two teams in those top 3 slots for Premier League. Here we go, another round is underway. Zed has done a lot of setup there on the side of Cash Room. Schnitt took 1 bullet worth of damage and decided, well, that's all that I want to take. I'm just going to rotate around. Ultra, very aggressive here inside of this position, instead of Cash Room, something that we see from him often whenever he's playing Wumai here. Pays off for Zemper as he takes down D-Force. Bunny with the wall open, trying to make something happen, but Maggie is there through the tables and the chairs. He finds that kill. Tortilla answers back by taking down Zemper, but not before. The damage has already been dealt and done. 3v4 here. Still quite a lot of time left for Ren with the frag grenade coming in from below. It will not catch anything. It will just be another bit of wasted utility. Ultra a little too smart to shoot at himself on top of the table or on top of the green box and just is waiting for somebody to push him head on. Can't really find anything through the vert holes as there's nobody down there anymore. But now 2 players inside of CCTV. He's in a pretty inconspicuous spot that they really have no reason to expect. There goes a push in from Gaps. He's taking a lot of damage. So is Solrus, who goes down to Tortilla. There goes a beautiful swing there from Ultra, taking down the enemy, but immediately taking down himself. 2v2. Tortilla, the only player that's really been damaged. The rest all still sitting at pretty much full HP or just enough. Schnitt droning. Tortilla in the meantime holding point, waiting for any bit of information to be given away. Drone shot away. As much information as they could have gotten has now been taken away. Tia now droning. Meanwhile, Schnitt holds point. Drone shot at, but missed. Schnitt is able to find that kill onto Zed. Now it's all down to Maggie. 1v2. Once again, the attackers do not have control of the diffuser, but they're close enough to it to where they're going to be able to retrieve it in time. Maggie in a crucial position down below. Blows that C4 just a little too early, and now they know exactly where he is. Plan will be attempted. Maggie taking a lot of damage and downing Tortilla, now rushing into Jim. Ooh, looking away at just the wrong moment. It was a bit of a double take. If Tortilla had turned around at the right time, or if, I think that was Schnitt actually, if Schnitt had turned around at the right time, it was all over for Maggie, but he's able to find that round and is able to keep Lumina in it for a little bit longer. They find the 3rd round in this map so far, secure themselves 1 bomb site, and they're now going to be able to go back down to, or going to be able to go down to Church and Arsenal, and are going to be hoping that they're going to have a better win record on it than REH had when they were defending it. Because, of course, they need these rounds, and they need them badly. Oregon will definitely not be an easy feat, even for a team as strong as Lumina is, just based on how strong Red really are on Oregon. Is something that we saw time and time again from them during the qualifiers. We didn't see them too much in the Premier League, but not much has really changed about the way that they play Oregon. If you remember them throughout the qualifiers, you remember that they were terrifying on Oregon attacks, and they remain so still. If you watched, or if you'd missed it maybe the other day against Blue Jays North ex Vidical, you will know that they remain very, very good at Oregon attacks, and really would not be surprised to see it again. To see them pull it off again, especially if they are starting on attack, which, if I'm not mistaken, they will be. So Lumina are definitely going to have to make up some ground here, try and find the map win here, because not to count them out, but it's definitely not going to be an easy feat to do so on Oregon, so they want to secure themselves at least a map win here. Zet this time, taking point, trying to get that spawn P kill the way that Red were able to do. Fortunately, is less successful and is going to push or pull back from the position that he was trying to hold on to inside of Garage. However, his little pests are going to be able to deny a little bit of this utility, at least deny a little bit of time from it, but not much as those drones advance and positions are revealed. Proven as freeze, that with a pre-rib C4 is looking to pop it upstairs and take somebody down, but it doesn't really do anything as he pops it just a little too early, similar to Maggie in the previous round. Waste that little bit of utility and lets Red know, okay, well that's one C4 down. Depending on their lineup, that might be their only remaining one. Zemper inside of Gym bedroom. This is a position that we don't really see Zemper take him too often, but it worked anyway. Immediately shut down, however. He took a page from his old team's book. If you remember back in the qualifiers, that is a position that Sirocco, back on Oblivion XC, was completely immovable from, and it worked for him for a little bit, but immediately got shut down, and Solrus with an answer onto Bunny brings the advantage back to his team and makes it that much better for his team. Still inside of Kitchen, completely undroned and completely uncontested. He's able to find another one. Flashbang's coming out, but they will miss. That one still misses. Solrus inside the Kitchen finds his third. Onto Schnitte, there goes a grenade being bounced off the door frame. That will miss. There goes a C4, and that will hit. Solrus finds himself with 4K, brings that round gap straight to 1. Keeps Lumina alive. Even without a timeout, they were able to completely rein themselves back in and talk about how this is not going to go as easy as Rep might have thought it would. As I said, this is absolutely crucial for Lumina. Now, Rare are the ones taking the timeout, just as I said it. Lumina definitely need this map. They need this map. They do not want to go to Oregon against Rare with the map down. I'm not saying that they can't win it, but it's going to be a lot of pressure, and it's going to take a lot of effort. And not only that, they will be going into Cafe completely drained, chasing that final map. So they definitely want to secure themselves a map win here. But so do Red, because again, they don't really want to battle it out here for a long time. Even if they have a slam dunk on Oregon, they will be going into pretty much no man's land when it comes to Cafe, just because of how uncommon of a map it is for it to be played. But also the fact that these teams are from opposite leagues. And Red have really never had to play against Lumina and vice versa, so there's really no way for them to know each other. It's not even the case of like, oh, they played last season against each other, and then, you know, Red remained in the Premier League, Lumina advanced into, you know, the Champions League, or maybe if they played in last season's qualifiers, they had never really played each other before, maybe in some scrims, but not in a league game, at least not in Revival. So for them to go into this completely blindly, Cafe is definitely going to be a bit of no man's land, and it's really going to come down to the better team. I think that will probably be the best display of both of these teams. Of course, if we get to it, but there's still so much for so much of this match to get there. You know, I might be completely wrong. Rent might get absolutely toasted on Oregon, and we might not even get to see it. Or, you know, I might be right, win it here, and then Lumina get toasted. It really could go any which way, and I'm very excited to see how it goes on further. But now, interestingly enough, Lumina, for their third map, or for their third site rather, had decided to go into CCTV and Cash Room. I said how, and that spawn peak, pretty cheeky angle there, but, well, Solars, I could have told you long ago that that one's not going to work when you're playing at 60 ping average. It really just is not. That type of thing absolutely works when you're on land, just because you can, you know, as soon as you see the person, you're able to react. But by the time that you see that person, by the time that you react, they're already up there, and it's such a small margin for error that, like, there's just really no way for you to find a kill that way. But, you know, I respect the hustle, I respect the fact that he tried, but I just could have told you long ago that spawn peak particularly isn't really gonna work. In any case, though, yeah, they've decided to go for CCTV and Cash Room, something that we haven't seen so far, considering that Red decided to go for the bar and stage instead. Oh, wow, that was ugly. D4 took down Zemper, or that was actually, I think it was Ultra taking down Bunny, but immediately Zemper going down instead of Lounge. He looked the wrong way. They sort of faded him out a little bit, and there was nothing that he could do. D4's taking down yet another one. It's Ultra off the board as he gets naded from below. Yeah, I was waiting a bit to shoot that camera, and actually, fully enough, neither of the players are watching any of those cams, so they might have known, hey, there's a player at the bottom of red, maybe want to shoot him, or maybe want to be aware of him at least when I tell you the call out. Still so much time left in the round, just about 90 seconds still left for red, and with that wall open and man advantage, they have everything they need to try and make this happen. But Gab's pushing into Garage a little bit, taking quite a lot of damage, but not being taken down just yet. Solrus now on the hunt for him, maybe even hunting to go for a bit of a run out. I do believe there's claymores up on that run out, so I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, and he is able to find Schnitter there. Gab's returning fire isn't able to find that kill just yet. Solrus running away for the hills and wasting precious time for Red. Barbed wire getting destroyed there by the hammer of D-Force, giving away his position, and a bomb smoke babe follows. 30 seconds to go, a little bit of time being wasted by the smoke babe, and Maggie in a interesting position there, in a prone position actually, at the foot of the door. Could just be Red's worst nightmare. They have no idea that he's there. There goes a flashbang. He goes for one, finds it, but immediately retraded. And Zet will find Gabs on the opposite end of the map. It's all down to D-Force, pushing it to the bomb side itself. There goes a Kiba barrier, and there's nothing he can do against that either. Lumina Gaming find the round and equalize the scoreline yet again. As we finish up round 10, we are confirmed to see all 12 rounds of regulation, which I did not think that we'd be able to see, gonna be honest, after the way that it was going for a little bit. Once it got down to that 5-1, I really was like, okay, well, we might not be able to see it. We might not be able to see all 12 rounds. I didn't think necessarily it was going to end up a 7-1, but I also didn't foresee a Lumina Gaming comeback such as this. And it could be interesting. So far, they are on quite a tight streak. It's 4 rounds in a row for them. They only need one more to match REH. And not only that, they only need one more to put themselves on the map point here. REH, already having taken their timeout, haven't been able to find success before or after it, really, in this half. Lumina Gaming, similar to their run in the Champions League after a rocky start, have absolutely found their footing and look very, very strong. Going back upstairs to gym and bedroom. Around that they miraculously won off the back of a Maggie clutch that for a moment I didn't think was going to happen either. Hopefully they've learned a little bit of their lesson and knowing that, hey, maybe we're not really supposed to leave things up to chance, although a few of those kills were definitely very, very good. And while this setup is not going to happen, but I was going to say this setup is going to be a bit crazy, or is it going to happen? Where are you going to put it down, Maggie? We're waiting for that second mirror to be put down. D-Force on the Osta this time, already pushing into Garage, knowing that it's completely free, considering that the first line of defense for Lumina will be situated inside of Cash Room instead, and that will be Ultra holding point yet again, threading himself some of those vert angles, and there goes the mirror being placed inside of Ludgy to look down for construction. A pretty default setup, and we see this time and time again. That setup is very important for most teams that end up going for it, just because of how much it cuts the round, or how much it cuts the map at half. Gab's trying to open up some of these walls, Mew Jammers preventing him, and there goes an impact trick attempt as well from Ultra to deny that. It will work, destroys one of those exothermics, unless they tricked him, and it doesn't look like they did. There goes the second exothermic, but Ultra still has one more. Still has one more impact remaining. Gab's afraid to put the exothermic on the wall because he doesn't want it to get destroyed. Of course, it's the only one that he has. Bunny is all the way on the other side of the map, trying to open up the jacuzzi wall instead, and now with Tortilla given the information about where the Mew Jammers are and which part of the wall is able to be breached, they will go straight onto Ultra. A beautiful push there, beautiful coordination coming out from Red. I had to say that was just a little bit misplayed from Lumina as well. Why did Ultra not have the support that he needed in that position? Gabs follows up with another one to Dezember as well, leaving Lumina in a 3 versus 5. As I was saying, that mirror window will now be the most crucial part of this defense. It cuts the map in half, or it cuts the floor in half, and it gives all the advantage to Lumina, as they are able to see the attackers where the attackers aren't able to see them. The Skiba barriers that Solus is playing behind is also very, very important, because it denies people from running straight for that mirror window, trying to punch it and denying the view. Zet now pretty much locked in inside of Ludgy, will need Solar support more than ever, but Maggie is all alone on the opposite end of the map, trying to defend the bomb site, finds the kill on the Bunny, and Zet will be able to find gaps as well. Tortilla will be the next one to go down. Solar's immediately, or that's D-Force falling up to Maggie. Zet will find Schnitte as well. It's all about the D-Force. He's in the site. He's going for the plant, but Solar's is there, finds the kill. Lumina Gaming take the round and find... Wow. That honestly didn't even look like he killed a person there. It didn't look like there was a person there to begin with. Lumina Gaming take the round and put themselves on map point. Something that I expected to happen, but I expected it to happen way sooner than round 11. That is now 5 rounds in a row for them. And actually, that is more than Red were able to do, because Red didn't win 5 rounds in a row. I think it was 4 rounds in a row that they won. Yeah, it was. They won the first round, they lost the second, and then they won the next 4. So Lumina have now matched and exceeded Red in the round count, going back down to basement. That was probably Red's best shot. They're gonna have to go down. Well, not quite. I think probably top floor. The gym bedroom attack was probably their best. Sound bug being reported by REH, calling for rehost. I'm not sure whether the rules state that the whoa.
Camera feed up and
5 seconds left. Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure if it has to be between the if it has to be before the prep phase or not. It does seem like it has to be before the prep phase. It looks like the sound bug has been resolved, so looks like it will be able to continue. And what is potentially the final round of this map, have already well and truly begun their attack, droning out everything they possibly can. Unbeknownst to them, there's really nobody on that deep of a roam. Last time they really didn't get that far. Yikes. That is a disgusting angle. That is a disgusting angle from the bottom of the very, very bottom of the main stairs. Able to find it through the floorboards all the way up onto the top floor, right, main stairs. Bunny is there with an answer on Zet, who got a little too aggressive, a little overzealous there. Is able to find that kill. There we go. The impact trick is on. Although I do believe... Oh no, that must have been something else that was exploding. So I was gonna say, like, I think that one of them had been wasted, but that isn't possible. So I think it was just something else exploding somewhere else. Sorrow's taking quite a lot of damage inside of blue. I think he might be getting pressure from inside of oil pit. Or from at the bottom of the blue stairs. Not really sure. He took quite a lot of damage. Maybe the dirt tunnel? No, that's completely free. I don't know, he took a lot of damage from somewhere. I'm ready to go now. The hatch open, I believe. Pressure being put down from main stairs. The motor hatch now open as well. Flashbangs are flying from the sky, trying to push these defenders out of their position. Gaps at the bottom of the main stairs, trying to make something happen from that side of things. I'm building down. Rest still stalling, trying to put themselves into a position so that they are able to execute without losing too many bodies and without losing the position that they have. Drones in place are able to see clearly a few of these players, but just the same. Zed has control of those Valkyrie cameras, who really could be giving them away, and well, that might have just been an information kill just like that. Solars will find Tortilla, Gavschnitz, and Bunny now all alone, trying to hold on to this round, trying to keep their team alive. There goes the collapse, but it doesn't work. Zemper punishes Bunny. Ultra going down, but it doesn't matter. Zemper's there to pick up the pieces, finds gaps. It's all down to Schnitte inside of the bomb site, finds one, but can't find anything else. It's Solars with the finisher, and it's Lumina Gaming with the round and with the map. And now, with Clubhouse firmly within their grasp, Lumina are able to take a breather and go on to what is nothing short of Rez's best and favorite map. And that one will be one to watch for sure. Because if Lumina are able to stir the pot and stir REH on their best and favorite map, then I think that we're really going to be able to see something special coming out from Lumina here. But of course, none of that is going to come without a price, and all of that is not going to be easy for Lumina to do. So it really could go any way, and I'm excited to see it. So I guess I'm not going to ramble for too long, as all of the MVPs and everything else will be decided at the end of the matchup. So we'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, it will be REH Gaming versus Lumina Gaming on Oregon. Stay tuned.
point, but I don't have hollow bones. So you'll never take away my voice. You used to be like home, but now the whole place is so destroyed, and I'll survive on my own. I'm stronger than when I started, even through all the times I hit the ground. I'm stronger than what you wanted, even through all the times you burned me down. I keep rising from the dust. You used to always say words that were laced with poison love, and you thought I'd always stay. Guess it turns out push came to shove, we'll never be the same. You take the dig, I take the jump, I finally found my way. I'm stronger than when I started, even through all the times I hit the ground. I'm stronger than what you wanted, even through all the times you burned me down. I keep rising from the dust.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revival League Season 2 Lower Bracket Quarterfinals. My name is Retro, and we are back with map number 2 between Red Gaming and Lumina Gaming. It is Oregon. If you had missed it, or if you'd forgotten what happened on Clubhouse, well, what happened was pretty much exactly what I expected to happen, exactly what it predicted to happen pretty much before the game had even begun. And that is that Lumina took it, although they took it at a 7-5 fashion, which I did not expect it to go that long, and especially with the fact that REH were on quite a significant lead at 5-1, and then Lumina just kept on going for an absolute tear. Won 6 rounds in a row, took the map and took the point as well. Series point, to be sure. There are no more points that will really matter for the grand scheme of things. There are no standings, nothing like that, but they did take a series point, and of course, as this is a best-of-3 series, and this is map 2, now it is Rez's turn to take that second series point and try and bring this into map 3. And if I had to sort of guess or predict or to gamble or to bet, I would put my money on Red just because of the fact that they are starting on attack on Oregon, which is by far and away their best and favorite map. If you've been following us, you know, in the qualifiers and then sort of missed most of the season, you will remember Red being terrifying on Oregon attacks. This is something that they've been doing for a long time. Nothing really has changed. If you go to their Wikipedia page right now, or not to their Wikipedia page, but if you go to Revival League's Wikipedia page and look at Rez's track record, if they're playing Oregon, best believe they won it. They have a really good track record on Oregon. Not even just in Revival League. It is sort of a transcending thing that they do in most leagues, depending, I guess, on which team they play. I don't know if they'd really be able to beat somebody from T1 area of esports, of us esports. But nevertheless, though, they are very good at Oregon. And I said it all the way at the start that if Lumina want to have a chance to take this onto Cafe, they need a win on Clubhouse. And I did expect them to win it, not just because, you know, they need it, but because Lumina are very good on Clubhouse, and they proved exactly why with 6 rounds in a row for themselves. So now, REH are going to have to prove that they are just as good on Oregon, and that there is really no one else that can beat them on Oregon, but I guess themselves in T1, in order to take this to map 3 on Cafe, at which point I truly do not know. Oh, that's a bit rough there, Silvers. But I truly do not know what to expect from Cafe, just from the fact that I don't think I've ever seen REH really play it. And the last time that I saw Lumina play it was a while ago, where they had a different roster, and it's just sort of no man's land. And that one will be very exciting and very interesting. So if you're busy right now, if you're cooking dinner or making some, doing some laundry, maybe cleaning up, tidying up the house, come back in a little while when we're back on Cafe, as I'm sure that we will be, and then get ready for a show. But this show in Oregon is well underway here in round 1. Lumina Gaming are on defense, and after a few very interesting bans, the initial first engagement will come out here. Zemper onto D-Force, finds that kill, takes down the Flores, who will not be able to do anything against some of the utility that they have at their disposal, namely that shield from the Ella of Zet. They're not really going to be able to do anything against that, which could be a bit of a problem. Gaps here still trying to engage against the aforementioned Ella, but Zed is able to run away completely unscathed, and is able to be a nuisance for just a little bit longer and waste a little bit more of their time. But again, as I said, losing Flores sort of at all, let alone that early before any of his utility had been put down, is definitely not going to be an easy feat for to come back from. Again, I said they're very good on Oregon attacks, but that doesn't mean they're going to be able to pull it out of thin air. It's still going to be a lot of work for them to get to a point where they're going to be able to win the round, if they are going to be able to do it. Freezer hatch open now. Frox alarm given away at this position, and it will be a mine magnet that will swallow up his grenade and not allow it to traverse further through Freezer hallway, allowing Maggie to stay put inside of that particular position, and really not going to be able to move him anytime soon. Tortilla trying to put up some pressure from the opposite side. Some of his sand cams getting destroyed. Quite a lot of pressure being put up from the hallway as well. It is a prone position. Punch hole for Ultra that takes down Tortilla. A cheeky little one. Yikes, that was a weird bounce off the nade. Nearly taking down Schnitte, but instead, Gaps will find a kill onto Ultra. Soros following up immediately with one onto Schnitte, leaving Gaps and Bunny for their own. Bunny waiting for a while for that flank to come around and takes down Zed. But Solrus is there to find Bunny. It's all down to Gaps, and there's nothing that he can do. Solrus is there with a beautiful swing. MP5K finds his head like a magnet. And Lumina take the first round against the attackers of REH on Oregon. And if you told me that this is how it would go, I would be very, very surprised. I'd be like, are you sure? Are you sure that you read that correctly? Or didn't you mean that the scoreboard was a little bit, the other way around? Are you sure that that's... Yep, that is exactly how it is, and that's exactly how it was. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. I definitely don't want to be going into this one with any more of a disadvantage. They already are, of course. Not having that series point definitely puts a lot of pressure on them, even though it is their map pick, and it is, by all accounts, their map. They still don't really want it to be going the way that it is, and of course, it is only one round, and you might be thinking, Retro, shut the hell up. It's one round. Nobody cares. It's one. They're going to make it up at a heartbeat. They might, but if they don't, it could snowball into a big, big problem where they might not have that much of an advantage. Of course, Oregon, just by default, as most maps are in Siege, is quite a bit defender-sided, so even if they don't take point and find those really crucial rounds on attack, you're still going to have a chance to do it on defense, but they really don't want to leave it up to that chance. They want to be secure with their win, not just for the sake of, saving face and like, oh, well, this is our map pick, we have to win it, but they also want to preserve energy. They've already played 12 grueling rounds of Clubhouse that none of them were really over all that quickly. You're going to have to play at minimum. I guess not at minimum 12, but they might have to play another 12 here, and then an entire cafe still left to play. Could be a challenge. D-Force narrowly avoiding getting his head taken off there by Ultra in a awfully early engagement. His drone getting shot out, and that utility will not be going anywhere, and Solrus is staying put here behind his trophy shield, but D-Force finds Ultra on that counter swing and is able to find that opening pick. Not only that, but is able to take down Doc, a very important operator, but his utility is still taking a beating. In the meantime, Tortilla is able to open up the attic wall, putting a bit of pressure on this side of the map as well. Zed taking a little bit of damage, but still not anything that he can't handle yet. Solrus battling against two angles at the same time will find the down there on D-Force. Is not able to finish him, at least not just yet, and not at all actually, considering the fact that he does not have impact grenades in pocket, so he's not going to be able to do anything about that. Zemper will find Schnitte, and there goes the confirm from Solrus. Gaps in the meantime is able to find Zet. 3v3. We're ever so close to the bomb site, but there's still so many positions for them to clear out. Bunny will find Zemper. That's a good beginning. That's a good start. Frostmat at the bottom of that drop could really be the end of all ends, and it will be exactly that. Gaps on the swing is able to find Maggie, but immediately is down in the Frostbat. 1v2 here for Solrus. Tortilla can't really afford to jump in down that drop as well, as he doesn't really know what's happening. Bunny nearly falls into Frostmat himself, but is able to avoid it by near centimeters. Tortilla, I think, is now able to retrieve Gaps, and that's exactly true. They are able to be back to a full 3, or as full as they can be with the HP disadvantages.
Attackers have located a bomb.
But Solrus is still on these armory stairs, and now he's the one having to retake into the bomb site. Samcam spotting him every which way, everywhere he goes, taking so much damage from the back, and Tortilla will finish him up with the MP7, not even deciding to go for the SC3K, which has definitely been the favorable weapon for a lot of Zero mains since the buffs to the extended barrel and other utility, or other gun attachments, but not even deciding to use that gun, he goes for the good old MP7, finds that kill, finds the round, and that is exactly what we expect to see from REH on this beautiful day here on Oregon. Hadn't really mentioned too much of the bans, but they're pretty standard, although they might look a little bit weird. They're pretty standard for Oregon, really, when you think about it. The Ying Azami Cade, they're usual suspects. They're always at the top of the ban lists in T1, T2, T3, T4, T17 and a half. They are always there. They're always present. Whenever they're banned, you're not really too surprised because they're like, yeah, makes sense. Totally makes sense. Oh, it's Oregon? Yeah, I don't want to play against Ying either. Oh, Azami? She's strong literally anywhere she goes. Good riddance. Oh, there's hatches on this map? Yeah, better get rid of the Cade. The Buck might be the only one that might raise a couple eyebrows and that might make people think, hey, but gives. But truth of the matter is the fact that Buck is very, very good at vertical pressure, mainly from below. Of course, he's very good at it from above as well, but there's really less of vertical pressure from above on Oregon. And, well, there we go. Spawn Peaks coming out. It's a 1 and it's a 2. Ultra and Solros pick up the first 2 opening kills onto Bunny and D-Force. That will deny a little bit of that grenade pressure, or it will deny all of it, actually, which will mean that there's not going to be any utility that's going to be taken care of by any of those frag grenades in the pocket of D-Force, and there's not going to be any walls that are going to be getting breached by Bunny, so they're either going to have to split the utility that they do still have in the pocket of Tortilla with those can openers, or they are going to have to just, cut their losses about which wall they're really going to be opening up. Making quick work here of clearing out the rear stage positions and putting down some of these air jabs as well to cut off any possible flanks. But as I was saying, the Buck is very, very good at vertical pressure and specifically from below. So if you're attacking onto... This could get funny. If you're attacking onto kids in dorms, the way that are right now, and that's depressing. As Maggie is able to bandit trick not 1 but 2 of those can openers and shut down that push from Red. They now have no hard breachers, which means that they are going to have to try and get into the bomb site elsewhere, or else how. Ultra getting taken down in the process. It was a pretty lucky long way shot down the highway. Window to window to take him down. Same position that he died in before. He got taken down yet again. But so much of that time being wasted. Zet on a flank gets caught up by one of those air jabs, but it's not really going to matter much. And in the meantime, Schnitte finds himself in the bomb site. Gabs was there to cover, but there's nothing he can do against the C4 that takes out his teammate. The diffuser is retrieved again, but Tortilla is down immediately. The C4 TK is not enough to win the round for Rez. Maggie is there. Kills his teammate and then kills the enemy as well to make up for it. A couple of lulls coming out in all chat as well, and well, really can't say too much about that one. But very, very unlucky round there for REH. They were not expecting those spawn peaks. It's something we saw from them actually on Clubhouse, where they were getting very aggressive and they were going for those spawn peaks. We saw, I think it was Zemper attempting a very, very ambitious spawn peak inside of Garage onto one of the spawn points. It did not pan out quite so well back then, although REH were quite successful with it. This time, Lumina took a page out of Red's book and went for those spawn peaks, and it absolutely paid off, taking out 2 of their players and taking out one of their hard breachers. The bandit trick on the can openers was just cherry on top of the already delicious Lumina cake, and they were just able to hold on to it. You might even say that C4 TK could have even been on purpose, just for the style points, you know. Especially because you could see it in the kill cam. It really wouldn't even surprise me. Jokes, of course, but nevertheless, the round is a go here for
5
Red to try and find some semblance of control, and it looks like the way they're going to be doing that is by force, by picking onto the Blitz and the Lion and the Jackal to go for a bit of a rush. Of course, not the way that you would normally see a rush happening, especially a Blitz rush. You would want something else there. Of course, with a Ying, it's really difficult to try and achieve that, but nevertheless, I do believe that's exactly what we're going to be seeing, and it's something that we saw from Ret before, actually. Didn't really go their way, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was their opponents that tried to do it against them and it failed. I just remember seeing a Blitz rush recently on Oregon that failed miserably, so hopefully for Ret, that's not going to be the case for them, although it's already starting to fall apart. Zemper once again finds the opening frag there onto D-Force. A little bit of help from Ultra as well. What the heck? How did he find? Like, he was so quick from rear stage all the way down to the other side, and Zed waiting quite a bit to see where the push would actually be coming from to place down his mirror window. Of course, he was trying to decide whether it should go facing Freezer or if it should go facing Blue, depending on where the pressure would be coming from. He ended up placing it Blue, and now with the pressure already being so put down, Solrus and Zet put down the attackers. Yikes, it's a flawless Lumina taking Red by storm on their map. Undoubtedly their map. I mean, I said it all the way back in round 1. Yikes is all I can say. A 3-1 split on Res map on their side. I really don't know what to even say anymore. I mean, and it's not even so much that Rare are really making mistakes. It's just the fact that they are being a little bit outplayed by Lumina. Pretty much every single round, they're being outplayed. The only round that they weren't outplayed was the one round that they won, but I mean, how much does that really mean when you have everything stacked in your favor and you're still not being able to find that control? But, you know, just as well, I was saying the exact same things about Lumina back before on Clubhouse when they were on their map pick and they were on their favorite map, and it was the map they really should have had in control from the get-go. And they just weren't able to find anything in the first half. Ended up taking 6 rounds on the second half. So, really, if you're a Red Gaming fan right now and you're feeling a little down, do not count them out yet. This is a very, very strong team, very hungry team that climbed up through the rungs of the qualifiers and managed to place themselves in the Premier League. Managed to climb up from it as well, from the bottom to the top. Place themselves into the playoffs, and
locate and defuse a bomb.
There really could be a lot of success still to come. Ultra taking point on a very unusual position that I, until this very moment, didn't know you could even get to. So I guess that really marks the difference between a caster and a player. Because I'm sure that to people who play this game, and especially to people who are in esports space as often, will probably know about that one. I did not. Is that holding on to the position up top inside of the tower. Treating a little bit of this utility, or trying to anyway, but failing to do so. And utility is going to start flying his way, but before the utility even gets a chance, it will be the bullets of D-Force's G36C, which will find the kill. Bunny with the AK will find another one onto his teammate as well, but Solrus is there with an answer all the way in the other tower. The smaller, shorter one is able to find an answer onto Schnitte, taking down a couple of those frag grenades with them as well, and is able to answer back. Maggie is there with an answer of his own. SMG-11 bullet to the noggin to take down Tortilla. Zemper, for the love of God, please shoot that drone. Bunny is able to find another one at the Solrus, but Zemper is there to find yet another one at the gaps. Kills being traded back and forth for both of these teams. Zemper taking so much damage, trying to take down Bunny, but it's in fact, or trying to take down D-Force, but it's Maggie to take down Bunny. In the meantime, a frag grenade will go up on the door. Won't find anything or anybody. And D-Force is all alone now to try and make something happen. The diffuser is far away from him at the moment, cold and dead on the ground. 1 versus 2. Zemper is quite lit. I think it's only about a bullet's worth of damage at this point, especially from the G36C, to be able to find that kill, but questionable whether he's actually going to be able to find it, especially with vertical control of that diffuser from Maggie. All he needs to do is know there's a player top right. He can hear him shuffling around, although, can he? I don't think he can, as he doesn't seem to be aware of that at all. He does manage to retrieve the diffuser now with the smoke being popped on the stairs. He knows there was somebody upstairs, but it's Zemper instead from inside of security to find that final kill. Lumina take another round. Zemper saying, if you saw me miss my entire mag on that drone. No, you didn't. Then Observer Happy responds with, you can hit heads, but you can't hit drones. And I could not agree more. I mean, Zemper, I spoke highly of him back on Clubhouse, talking about how he came from a very, very highly respected team of Oblivion XC. They were very, very good in the qualifiers, had a pretty strong run. Unfortunately, they disbanded. Zemper was LFT for a little while and finally landed with a gig with Lumina, and so far that has been a fruitful contract coming up from everybody involved. Zemper has been given a platform to pop off and gather clips for his YouTube and for his Twitter, now X. Meanwhile, Lumina have been gifted a very, very good player who's been able to complete them in a way that gets them to positions like the lower bracket quarterfinals, potentially even further down the run of these playoffs, and maybe, just maybe, even the coveted grand finals. But
5 seconds left before.
Nevertheless, we ignore players not being able to shoot drones for as long as they are able to do everything else that is really needed of them. Ultra not really being able to set themselves up for a bomb peak, and that is something that I want screenshotted. If somebody could go back on the stream a little bit and screenshot Ultra spawn peeking onto a completely empty and dead spawn, I would really appreciate it. Send it my way, please. In any case, though, Bunny looks ready for a rush through the kid's window with the Amaru Gara hook. I don't know if that's going to be happening now or if it's going to be happening a little bit later in the round when his team is more set up, but nevertheless, the opening pick finally in the hands of REH, who we are able to find Zed, and Solrus unable to rotate through the bomb site as they did not make a rotate in the prep phase, or having to make it now. Luckily, Maggie's still alive to make it. And here we go. Here comes the rush. Bunny in with the Gara hook prepared. I think the Force will be jumping in through the attic window as well at the same time, just to provide extra pressure with no frost on Lumina's side. It could just work, but no, D-Force's patience pays off. He finds Ultra. There goes the Gara hook. Rappel in, and Maggie finds him dead. Quite a lot of flashes coming in through the window. Tortilla and Schnitter both find their own. It's all down to Zemper. Nothing he can do with Schnitter to clean it all up. And it's another round on the board for REH. They stay alive. They pick themselves up another round. Leave the half of the 4-2 split, similar to what we saw from Lumina. And now they are going to have to try their hardest if they want to continue this run, if they want to take it all the way down into Cafe, if they want this to be a successful day for them in R6 Esports. Of course, now switching sides, it should be a little bit easier, although, curiously, they are going for Kitchen Meeting first. It is a pretty strong site, especially as of recent, when it has been picking up so much more traction, where it is often replaced by, or it is often the replacement of one of the other two sites of Dorms and Kids, or Supply and Laundry. I could not remember what the other side, what the other bomb site was called of basement. I was like, I know that one of them is supply, and I kept wanting to say arsenal for some reason for the other one. I guess clubhouse is still in my head, but nevertheless, though, even though it's a little bit questionable, REH are definitely going for it,
10 seconds to
and
go.
they're going to be attempting to defend it first. Of course, the benefit of going for, you know, what is typically the tertiary site first is the fact that if you win it, it's sort of a free round. Because this is still early stages of your defense. Your opponents still don't really know how you defend. Still, you know, they've taken a lot of, you know, information from the way that you attack and from the way that you play the other side, but they still don't have all that much information. It's still a lot difficult for them to really dissect what you're doing. So if you go for a tertiary site for them to try and understand you and how you play, it really could be an advantage, because if you end up winning it, then you're going on to sites that, with or without information, are still really difficult for teams to win. So there's definitely strategic value to this. It's just that if you lose it, then you've sort of set yourself up for a bit of a failure there. Then it's going to be twice as hard as you're going to have to be chasing rounds. And here we go, utility being displaced on to both of the tower walls. The C4 is up through the floorboards, finds Solrus and about 70 of his HP, but not enough to get him killed. Zemper, however, will find enough damage to get Tortilla killed, taking down their Umai, and opening up this round wide open for Lumina. Even more breaches are being made here for Lumina. They're now opening up this split wall as well, or both of these split walls, giving really not all that much space to work with. But Schnitt is on a perfect flank. He finds two. Ultra and Zemper are immediately there with an answer, and all of Schnitt's hard work is immediately completely nullified. Bunny is on the flank of his own, and D-Force is still upstairs, meaning there's nobody watching the bomb site, and the plant is being attempted. There's nothing that really D-Force can do from above, but Bunny can do a whole lot from below. Unfortunately, as soon as he pulled that trigger, he was immediately shut down. Ultra, calm as ever, is able to find that kill and find that round. Lumina continue with their absolute tear. 5 rounds for them now. Only one away from putting themselves on a map and a match point. A series point, however you want to call it. This really could be the beginning of the end for REH, and they really don't want that to happen. I mean, I talked a big game and might have cursed them a little bit by saying how good they are, but I mean, it really cannot be understated. Their record on Oregon is truly something else, and I mean, true, they are playing with a sub currently of D-Force, so that could be a part of why they've really not been able to settle in, but you know, it should be mentioned that they've been playing with the sub throughout all of playoffs so far. Their game against Blue Jays North Star just a few days ago was also against I was also with a sub, so that really shouldn't be affecting them to this magnitude, especially on their map. And again, it's not so much them being bad or playing badly. It really is Lumina outplaying them a little bit. And I guess that might be, to be expected. Just from the fact that Lumina are, the sort of higher tier team, they're in the higher league or whatever, but sometimes that line really gets blurred, especially once you get to the playoffs and these teams are so evenly matched. I mean, if you told me that REH and 5 Stars were a Premier League team without me knowing that, I'd find it hard to believe, just considering how well they've played so far. So that really doesn't mean much when the lines get blurred in the playoffs. Tortilla under a lot of pressure here inside of Armory, having a hard time trying to shoot these drones, and It's a TK on the drone. In the meantime, Zemper will find that opener onto Gabs. I'm not really even sure how that happened. It was a far away. Oh, it was a far away grenade, and it's Maggie with an AK and a pistol to find a couple of his own. Schnitten, D-Force now all alone, trying to make something happen. Make that just D-Force, as Maggie will take down Schnitten, leaving D-Force all alone and wanting some friends. But Lumina will eliminate that plot problem as well as they take him out. Take themselves another flawless round. And put themselves on map, match, and series point. Rat now stand only one round away from being eliminated from the competition. Of course, this will not be their final game. Wow. That is, that's disrespectful. Just lose rounds, bozo. But no. Rat now stand only one round away from being eliminated from the competition. Of course, this won't be their last game. They still have the 5th place match to play against. Who is that? Who? Blue Jays? Is it Blue Jays?
Need to locate and
Oh yeah, it is Blue Jays. Yeah, because they play the date. Yeah, so it will be against Blue Jays, North Star. The 5th place match. It was Blue Jays against Eternal, right? I think so. Anyway, they will be playing in the 5th place match. If they lose this, of course, they still could go for a comeback. And, you know, playoffs have not seen comebacks. I mean, we just watched Lumina do it on Clubhouse, and we watched it, you know, just the other day. We watched 5 Stars do it against Eterno on Chalet, and then they took map 3 on Villa as well. Although, if you're gonna watch any game from the playoffs so far, I do not recommend Villa of 5-star map 3 between 5 stars and Eterno, because it drove me insane, and I think that it would drive anybody insane. I think that map will give me nightmares for years to come. But nevertheless, REH are definitely still in this. I would not count them out, not by a long shot. Maggie taking a lot of damage and finally finding that opening kill onto Tortilla, who's getting a little too aggressive and a little too overzealous. Zet follows it up with another one onto D-Force, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Do not count them out, not by a long shot. So much could still happen. Schnitt's under pressure inside of elbow as well. 2 minutes still to go, more than enough time still for Lumina to execute, but
Cover me, reloading! Clear the blast area!
Ultra will go down. Schnitt taking a lot of damage. Gaps. Finding Solros. There goes Bunny with the one of his own. Schnitt will find Zemper. It's all down to Zet. 1 versus 3. To win it for his team. He said, please give me ace so that I can go neutral. Well, it won't be quite an ace, but a bit to bring himself ever so close to... Actually, no, would it be an ace? No, it wouldn't. And it doesn't matter. Schnitter will find him anyway. Win that round for REH, and they stay in the fight for a little bit longer. It's step by step. It's round by round at this point. You really can't ask for much more than that. You have to play it as if it's just a series of, you know, 1 rounds. You know, you have to treat this as, oh, I win this round, and we win the whole game. We beat Siege. If we win this 1 more round, we beat Siege. We get $1 million, and that's all that you can really think about. So that's how you have to treat it when you're in this sort of position. When you're trailing this many rounds and every round is doomed, you cannot think that way. You cannot think, oh, it's doomed. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, let's just rush. Whatever. Who cares? No, can't think of it that way. You have to be comfortable with the fact that, you know, the next round is just the next round. Or the round that we're playing right now is the only round that exists. And, you have to You have to treat every single round like that until you've equalized. And then you can start thinking about, okay, now that we've equalized, now that we're on overtime, now we can breathe finally, and now we can relax, and now we can start thinking about where to go from here and what to do next. Setting themselves up again inside of kitchen meeting, where I think that actually might be the first time that they're setting themselves up here. No, it definitely is not. No, they went here before, and it really did not pan out the way that they wanted it to, but neither did really the other bomb sites either, so this is as good as it gets at this point. Pressure coming already inside of the tall tower. Last time we saw Tortilla trying to hold on to this, but he was immediately eliminated. This time he's not going to be that confident with that position. Instead, he's just going to give it up, play it a little bit further back. Exothermic charges attempted on the wall. Zemper taking a couple butt shots to his feet, but the other side of the bomb site already being blown right open. Shinta again in the position that was so fruitful before and is able to shoot one of those exothermic charges off the wall. Actually, no, that wasn't a exothermic charge. It was a Selma, but nevertheless, though, it is utility that is now gone, and now with Zed only having one more exothermic charge remaining, it's questionable where that one will go, and it will go on this lower wall, so they are able to open it up, but they will not have any more control coming from the split side. Tortilla will find the opener there onto Ultra, and Gabs is holding a very tight position here, just waiting for anybody to peek their heads on through. That could just be Zemper if he's a little bit reckless like that, but we won't know until a little bit more still. Gabs is actually rotating around, and oh boy, could get messy here, as I do believe that he wants to throw that proxy down this exact green hallway. That's exactly what he does, and Zemper misses his shots there, misses a perfect opportunity to take down Gabs. Something that I thought would be messy was indeed messy, but Gabs stays alive. Drones giving away Solrus, but they missed the shots. D-Force finds Maggie. Zed immediately with an answer onto Tortilla. D4 still inside a classroom, really could be making some moves happen here, but Solrus is on the other side of the bomb site, going for the plant. Bunny will have to check a C4 halfway across the map, and he does exactly that. Blows open the Talon 8. The cover was not there from above, but the cover is there from below. They collapse onto the bomb site. They take everybody down, but D-Force is saying no! Zemper, however, says yes. And the best try from Red to try and stay alive in this one is gone. The round and the map and the match goes Lumina's way. They advance through to the lower bracket semifinals against Saturno in a couple of days. Meanwhile, Red are going to have to get ready to play their hearts out against Blue Jays, North Star. I do believe that's tomorrow in the 5th place matchup, to see who can really be the 5th place team of Revival League. Commiserations to Red and congratulations to Lumina. I don't know if I'd maybe curse them a little bit, curse Red a little bit, or if, Lumina woke up on the right side of the bed and just chose violence, chose to absolutely tear through their opponents. I mean, they were on an absolute tear throughout Clubhouse and then also throughout Oregon as well. Very, very well played. And they continue on further to try and earn their place in the grand finals against, I guess not necessarily against whoever wins between 5 stars and, well, I guess, yeah, no, definitely. What am I talking about? Against whoever wins between 5 stars and Arctic Wolves, which will also be a pretty interesting matchup coming in a few days' time. I think that's on Friday. Yep, that will be on Friday. So the weekend will definitely be full of quite a few good games. But I won't ramble on for too long. The MVP, oh, it is tough. It's tough to choose one right now. And this isn't for the map. This is for the entire matchup. So both maps are included in the decision for the MVP. And I think it is a really difficult decision to make. And truly, people put yourself in this position, try to not be biased. Because obviously people, who are, bigger fans of Lumina, and maybe who are closer to certain players, or who might only value kills, might disagree. But just generally, try to put yourself into a completely neutral position where there's no bias, where you're looking at strictly, how valuable that player was to the team, because that's really what it means. It means most valuable player. So by a very slim margin, I will give it to Solrus. And the reason for that really mainly is Clubhouse. Because first of all, that was a comeback that, Lumina really shouldn't have won that map in the grand scheme of things, but they pulled through, persevered anyway. And I felt that Solrus, for a large part of that, was a very big reason for that. Especially being there to get those refrags, to get those trades, to be there for his team, to play that sort of flex role very, very well. Not to say that the rest of the team didn't play well, that they didn't play their roles. It's just, I just spoke to Happy about this a little bit ago in between maps. The way that you would have to decide MVP is somebody who played their role perfectly, but then also who went the extra mile to do more. And that is something that I felt about Solrus for both of those maps. But it is a very thin margin, and I feel like all of these players played so well to the point where to decide who the MVP is throughout all of these playoffs has been so difficult because of everybody playing their absolute best Siege that they've ever played. Like, it's everybody playing through the absolute maximum of their abilities, and that makes it so difficult to make these decisions. But, it can only be one, and for me today, it will be Solrus, but the playoffs are still long. There's still so many games to play out yet, and Lumina could make it all the way down into the grand finals as well, and it might be somebody else, or it might not be. Really no way of knowing, but for today, it will be Solrus, and that will close out this matchup. Again, as I said, commiserations to Red. They've really tried their hearts out. They've persevered all the way through the qualifiers, made their way into the Premier League, play their hearts out in the Premier League, battle for that top spot, got into the playoffs, and unfortunately, they were just not at their A game today to be able to push on through and to be able to still continue through the lower brackets. But of course, fifth place match, or whether they end up sixth or fifth, they're still going to be getting a share of the prize pool for themselves as well. So it's not all for nothing, but of course, everybody wants that top spot. Everybody wants that recognition. Everybody wants to be the winner. And unfortunately, there can only be one. And we will have to find out who that will be for, the rest of this week and the coming days. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure to stay subscribed to this channel so that you know when we next go live, and follow our socials as well. I've been Retro. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a good night.
stay.